Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Hold up.
Big one for Nebraska basketball. 10-point winners on the road at Rutgers. We'll talk about that and more here on the block. Nobody better to talk Husker basketball with than the man wearing Nebraska on his chest today, as he did for a handful of years. Eric Strickland, Husker Hall of Famer, 9-year NBA vet. There it is, Strickland.
This is our old look, like our old,
warm up
kind of tops.
Heck yeah,
Old school.
That's next. This is On the Block.
Yeah, the old school jersey. That's not the old school team, but the old school jersey. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
How you doing today, man?
Great.
Good.
Now, I'm going to call it a shocking win for Nebraska last night, a slightly surprising win, but more surprising than the fact that Nebraska was able to win was how they won.
Yeah.
They handled pressure well, and they finished strong. There wasn't really any doubt for the outcome over the last couple minutes because Nebraska took care of business. And that's what I was most impressed about. They turned it over early. They got them out of their system for the most part. And to lead by 12, end up winning by 10, Strick, that was a muscle-flexing performance by Nebraska.
There's no question about it. And I just loved a lot of the stuff that they did in this game. Meaning, you knew, and we talked about it on the show. I mean, this is something we talked about extensively on the show, is that they're going to come in, they're going to try to bully them. And if you look at and go back and watch the first, good 8 minutes, 10 minutes of that game, every time they cut, there was a little shoulder or a little arm bar, they were bumping their cuts, hitting them pretty hard, leveraging them really, really hard in different plays. And Nebraska just stayed the course. They just kept cutting. They kept running. They kept doing that. They kept poise. Yes, had some mistakes and had some turnovers early. But what I loved about it is once they got a lead, Rutgers continued to push and make runs. You knew they were going to throw that at you. You knew it was going to happen, but they stayed poised. They made mistakes, and they didn't let it compound to where you just kind of have. So one of the things that Nebraska has done this game, more so than any, is they didn't have those long lulls, those 8-minute droughts, 7-10-minute droughts that has plagued them in their past and in some of their games that they've had trouble in. And so that was impressive to me to see that. There's some little minor things that I would watch and observe and give account to. Like, for example, if I happen to be around or whatever, and, it could be a text or something, but one of the things that they do in their double teams is they stay longer than they need to. This is going to be something they need to address because they're going to need to make sure that they're not giving up opportunities like that to an Iowa or somebody at home, or even when they play in this game. If you're going to double team, that's cool. But what was happening was, I'll give you an example. There was a mismatch switch that Tamanaga ended up on. I can't remember who the player was, but ended up in a post. They hit him in the post. Greasel comes over low. They double. Most teams now in their double teams, to include your Dickinson and your Edie's, they're standing and they're looking to pass. They're not even really being aggressive on the.
They're not hunting their own.
They're not hunting the shots in those moments, right? And so what happened was Greasel came. The guy retreat dribbles, goes out towards a couple dribbles towards the three, and they stay. That you can't do that in those situations. You have to leave. So the best thing to do on that is you stay with the double. Greasel stays with the bigger player. Tamanaga shoots weak side, far weak, because that's where the play is going to go. So if they kick it out, it's going to go to that next guy on the far weak side. So you would save yourself. And what ended up happening? He ended up hitting the three. So those are situations that they're going to have to work out, because teams are going to do that. They're going to create a mismatch, create a switch, and they're going to look for those opportunities to find guys on the weak side.
How much of that is coach to stay that long, and how much of that is feel for when Nebraska should leave? Because you don't want the guy to take one dribble, you automatically retreat, and then he backs down a smaller guy in the post. But like you said, if you stay too long, as big as those guys are, they can see over a lot of Nebraska's double teams, and they're good enough passers. That's an easy skip pass for them.
That's what I'm saying. You come with Greasel, right?
Yeah.
Even if you came with Wilcher, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm not even scared of having Hoiberg there because Hoiberg's a little more physical.
Sure.
Feisty. A little more athletic and jumping and stuff like that, right? So you send whoever you're sending on the double team, leave them there, except the big man. Now the big man's got to retreat. If he does, he's going to come back into your lane. You send a weak side guy into the lap and force him to make a shot over two. So
you can redouble instead of sticking.
Yes. If you stick, any guy in the post that's worth his salt knows that the more you drag this double team with me, whether it be in a pick and roll or whether it be in the post, the more you drag this double team away, the further he's got to run, which gives my guy more time to get a shot. So you have to try to eliminate that. Don't stay too long. Get out of it, and then come back if you need to.
402-464-5685, the number for you to get in all show long with any thoughts on Nebraska basketball's win over Rutgers last night. You mentioned Sam Griesel. To me, this was the best game he played at Nebraska. Not his highest scoring, but to me, it was the most important game that he played, and I thought Sam Griesel controlled the game for Nebraska, which he had to do against a team that, pressures like Rutgers does. You needed your senior point guard to rise to the occasion. 12 points, 11 rebounds is great. He also adds 5 assists, but only 1 turnover against a team that wanted to turn Nebraska over. And he matched up pretty well on defense with Rutgers. I was really impressed with Sam Griesel last night.
Yeah, that was a key. That was a key to the game, his poise. But guess what? We talked about that yesterday as well on the block. It's going to look very reminiscent and similar to what St. John's was going to throw. And that's what it was. It was press. It was, and he learned, he grew out of it and had tremendous poise. Having that kind of poise calms things down. It unnerves people. It allows them to relax. You need somebody that has the capability of doing that, getting the ball to certain spots. Now, I will say that there were times where Jamarcus Lawrence and there was one time where D-Walk went, you can't go into those dead zones. Don't go to those dead zones where the advantage then becomes the defense. And so there were a couple times they got themselves in that situation. But listen, D-Walk was a man. He handled his business, getting it done, 8 out of 10. Didn't get to the free throw line, but then just one piece that we talk about sometimes with regards to D. Obviously, Amore had 5 blocks, and a few of those was on D-Walk. Now, it's not that Amore did anything special. It's just that it was that sag. It was that off man. D-Walk had tremendous space. D-Walk gets into it, closes space, but not body. Right. So the angle, we talked about the angle. When you have that angle with a shot blocker, you're not going to win that battle. So that's the one that I talked about. If D-Walk doesn't want to take that little shoot your little floater. You've got a great jump hook with both hands. Just go a couple dribbles towards him and drop him off something proper with a nice little floater. And it's the same thing. It'll work the same way. So that's something that, as they continue to play against shot blockers, as they come down the stretch, that's something that I would add. I would just add it in there just because that did happen a few times. Other than that, man, they ran their offense, they executed, and that was another key component. Execution. When you get a lead, when you need a bucket, you've got to execute your plays. And I know that they ran the same play dang near almost the whole second half is because they couldn't stop it. Run it like the old Utah Jazz used to do until it don't break no more.
Someone proves they can stop it. Okay, we'll try something else. But I mean, to put up 82 points on a team allowing fewer than 60 in their home gym with the cast of characters you have is huge. And a lot of that, to me, Strick, came down to, yes, Derek Walker playing like a stud, Sam Griesel playing like a stud, Keisei Tominaga adjusting to how physical Rutgers was being, to their length, and finding ways to get shots off, hitting some big ones. But guys that we've talked about, but I think still go under the radar when you think of this team, are CJ Wilcher, who's been cold, hot last night, and Sam Hoiberg. Basically, since he's played, he's hit a key shot in every game.
And he attacks the rim.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
Just how important are those contributions from the role guys, where you're not asking CJ Wilcher to be a stud? You're not asking Sam Hoiberg to be a stud. You're just asking them to do their job. How important are those role-playing guys, as you look at a team sport like basketball?
Well, it's very important, but they've gained confidence over this last stretch of a month.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been able to get out there. It makes for Sam to be able to step up there with confidence because the team believes in him.
Mm-hmm.
They practice with him. They see what they can do. They believe in them. They get their opportunity. They meet the challenge when the opportunity presents itself. That's what you just got to be ready for. That's all you do is you prepare for as a guy that's a support role guy. You prepare for the opportunity, and as it presents, i.e. Blaze Keita the other night, not feeling well, still kind of touching up some injury situations, but yet still gave everything he had, got on the floor, made his body, took charges, and then don't really play tonight because the matchups didn't match up for him. See, the matchups, what it looked like they wanted to do in the starting of CJ Wilcher, more ball handling and more shooting.
Mm-hmm.
You just hope that CJ's ready for the challenge. He was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you have the kind of game, because the scouting report they weren't looking at CJ from a standpoint. They knew he was dangerous, but they weren't looking at him. And hand down, man down, about 3 times CJ hit him with the hezzy and pop and bust him with an eyeball sandwich.
Yes, sir.
And so you had that happening quite a bit, and that was good and that was positive. But again, I love the execution. I love the halting of runs, the quiet. There's nothing greater than when you're in a opposing person's arena than to shut them up.
Absolutely. To the text line we go to wrap up this segment, Strick. Guilt Nerd has asked a couple times today now the cylinder violation. He thinks it's the dumbest rule in basketball, and he's never heard of it before. So what is the cylinder violation, and what makes it foul?
So in the past, in a double team, you can body crowd. You can go hard with your chest into people,
walk up
and lock them in, right? Well, you can still create space. And if they invade your space, you got offensive. If you invade their space, that's cylinder. So basically they're saying an offensive player has a certain amount of space. Yes, you can get there, be big, close space, but if you encroach in cylinder and body contact is happening, then you're going to be prone to get a cylinder violation.
You can be close to a guy, you just can't walk up underneath him. Essentially,
yeah, you can't overly, body lean in, walk in. Now, if you're big and he tries to step through, you've got every right to that. You can close it. It ain't a cylinder. He's stepping into your space. It's just they're trying to eliminate people over, crowding.
Because you have to be able to establish defensive position and own your space. But at the same time, the offense has a right to that space as well.
Right. Yeah. And that's just by rule.
Yep. So Guilt Nerd, hope that answers your question about the cylinder violation. It was on Breidenbach, which isn't surprising. I feel like he can get called for 1 or 2 of those about every game. And again, that's a guy that his head, I think, his heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think the game's just going too fast for him. He gets a little out of control, gets sped up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he's usually in good position, but he'll take that one extra step and earn that call.
Yeah. And then and he was doing it in pick and roll situations too. Like the guy's by you and he'll hip check a guy, and it's like, you're not going to get away with that. That's what they're watching. So he would do little things and get extra fouls that he didn't necessarily need. And so, just be big, be strong, be physical, but not over aggressive like that.
For sure. Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Keep the thoughts rolling. And also got to shout out Mary Ellen's. Can't believe we missed that at the start of the show. They're back open today, so make sure you swing by tonight for supper. Pick up your plate of soul food from Mary Ellen's. Shout out to Charles and his crew. When we come back, we'll take a look, a little bigger picture at college basketball. Blue Bloods are down. Kansas is doing fine. UCLA's doing fine. Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, not great. Some new blood at the top of the sport. We'll get into that. Is that good for the sport? Bad for the sport? What do we make of these new teams? All that and more on the other side.
This is Megan Whitaker from the Nebraska golf team. If you've put your clubs away for the winter, it's time to get them back out. There's no need to stop thanks to Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle is home to Lincoln's best indoor golf simulators. It's perfect for every level of golfer, with everything from casual games for the kids to hyper-realistic simulations of some of the best courses in the world. And the best part, no matter what the weather's doing outside, it's always golf weather inside. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC has great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
We're going to get Amon Green set up in here.
You know, you go back 15, 20 years ago, video games is a picture of a kid or adult sitting in the basement, you know, lights off by themselves, eating Doritos, drinking Coca-Cola and all out of shape. And it's different now.
Yeah, y'all working out.
You know, and it's like, you got to work it out now. So I'm adding in practice sessions in the weight room. We're working out.
Get them, Amon.
You know, we're doing esports camp, just like training camp. We're doing 2 a day where we're on the Xboxes, we're on the PCs, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours at night.
Max Tan for men. Bye-bye golfer lines and t-shirt tans. Take it to the max at Max Tan. Get a 30-day pass, just $25 with stand-ups and laydowns for men of stature. Be a Max Tan man. Get 30 days for just $25 now at all 4 Lincoln Max Tan locations.
Chances are you've tried fruitcake before. Chances are it looked pretty weird. Lots of colors that don't really exist in nature. Chances are it tasted weird. Chances are you need to try fruitcake again. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. None of that weird stuff you didn't like, just real fruit, premium nuts, and the delicious flavor combination of brandy, bourbon, and rum to meld all that together. See for yourself. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also happening right here in Nebraska, and you could play a key role. Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, needs healthy adults who are 19 years old and older for a research opportunity. If you qualify, you could earn up to $500 a day for time and travel. Overnight stays may be required. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit helpresearch.com/500.
Getting experience to jumpstart a meaningful career can be difficult, and education can cost a fortune. Luckily, AmeriCorps can be the solution. With AmeriCorps, you'll earn a stipend and education award while helping people. Plus, you'll gain professional skills and make connections to help you build your career. If you're ready to start a career you can be proud of, visit serve.nebraska.gov/service to find a program for you. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and a station.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine. There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Winter storm warning will be in effect this afternoon through tomorrow morning, as snow is expected to move in late in the day. We could see accumulations overnight of 5 to 8 inches. Highs today will be around 30, but temperatures will be falling this afternoon. A low tonight expected at 14. high tomorrow of around 27. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Talking more college hoops here on the block. I'm Austin Norman. He's Eric Strickland. And during the break, we were talking about Michigan and Hunter Dickinson talking their trash, but losing to Wisconsin at home. Not ideal for Nebraska if they want to avoid the play-in round of the Big Ten tournament, as Wisconsin is a game and a half up on Nebraska. Michigan 2.5 games up. So you want that result flipped to have Wisconsin fall a little closer to the pack, help Nebraska with head-to-head. But Strick, I saw something today that I still don't know if I can fully wrap my head around.
Okay.
Nebraska basketball, Nebraska men's basketball, could still earn the 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament.
With the, oh, wow. When you look at it, it's possible. Talk to me about it.
Nebraska's 6-10 right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Purdue basically has it wrapped up. They're sitting atop the conference at 12-3. You have 2 teams, Indiana Northwestern at 9-5. You have 4 teams at 8-6, 2 teams at 8-7, 1 at 7-8, and Penn State a half game ahead of Nebraska at 6-9. There's a whole laundry list of results that every single one of them would need to go correctly for Nebraska to earn the double bye, the 3 seed, the highest seed they would have ever gotten, I think, in the Big Ten era. So it's almost not even worth talking about. But the bigger point, the bigger takeaway is this Big Ten is a mess.
Yeah. I mean, it is a hodgepodge. It's a big bowl of jambalaya. Everybody's in it. And it can turn and sway either way, depending on how bad you play. And so that's why I'm saying it's so important. It's a tough loss for Michigan, you know. Your resume is not the best. If you wanted to get in, you needed to lock that down. You put yourself in a bad situation at that point. You know, only ones really kind of sitting okay. None of them. It can turn either way. I mean, because I think probably the best thing, Austin, that's going for everybody is that this ain't a Big Ten problem only.
Right.
It's a little bit of everywhere, right? And so I said this a while ago. I said that looking at the landscape of college sports, and it didn't matter which ones it is. I mean, I think football is probably the one that still, you know, you're going to have your top tiers. But basketball, I said you're going to start to see parity after the COVID situation, because you're going to have a lot of non-openings. Guys are going to start going other places. Now you have addition of transfer portal. You've got all those different things and dynamics kind of coming down at the same time, which leads to parity. So teams that wouldn't necessarily, your Rutgers and, you know, Houston's and, you know, things like that, these type of teams were able in these nice recruiting hotbeds to land super talent because they probably weren't available to go to blue blood programs that they probably would normally go to. So other teams were going to get better. It was going to make for parity, and it was going to make March Madness more madness than it is already.
Right. It's on the one hand, it's still going to be March Madness because we don't know who's going to beat who's going to show up on any given night. But as the kids might also say, it might be March Midness. Very, very boring, very average, because who are the stars in college basketball? Who are the big names, the big draws? Like Houston's a really darn good basketball team. That doesn't, you know, capture the eyes and the hearts of people nationally. Yeah. You say Alabama is ranked in the top 2. You're assuming that's football. But it's basketball at the same time. I mean, Kansas is probably the best performing blue blood school this year.
Now that's what I want to talk about. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I want you to finish your thought.
Yeah, they've been probably the best blue blood school so far this year, but they've had their lulls. UCLA, I still don't know what their ceiling is. They've been pretty all right, but I don't know how much I trust them or I'm in love with them. Carolina, Duke, and Kentucky have like 4 quad 1 wins between them. Carolina doesn't have one. That's an NIT team right now. Kentucky's an NIT team right now. Duke might be a double-digit seed. Is it good for college basketball that there's new blood, or does it hurt college basketball that all the eyeballs aren't on these big teams because they're struggling?
Well, it ultimately comes down to this. A lot of people are looking for bags. So this is why you have G League Ignite. This is why you have this other league. I can't
Overtime.
You have so a lot of these, name brands that have Instagram followings and have mixtape followings, they're going to these types of places because it's a bag chase. So the quality of the game, I think, is creating parity, but the top tier quality is not that. So it's become very team or so if you're a purist,
on the one hand is good, but on the other hand, Strick, that's one of the biggest complaints people have about college basketball is it's hard to watch, which on the one hand is understandable because these guys aren't pros. Now they're supposed to have school to focus on, but it's fun because there's parity, but at the same time, there's nothing very flashy or exciting about college basketball right now.
I agree. I mean, there's no rebuttal. There's nothing that makes you want to say, I'm going to tune in tonight.
Right.
There's not that. There's no that Zion Williamson type feel or, guys like that. I mean, there's talent on that North Carolina team for whatever reason. They can't get it together. Talent on that Gonzaga team. There's a lot of up and downs with them as far as that goes. But that's the thing I wanted to talk to you about. What is and who is considered a blue blood to you? Is Arizona considered a blue blood?
Arizona's not a blue blood.
And even after the success that they had, runs that they had.
They had a really good run.
The Battier and the Jason Terry eras and the Michael Dickersons and
I just don't think they rise to blue blood historically. They had a good run. They're definitely a solid program.
So then who is?
There's just a small handful. Duke, Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky, UCLA. That's the list.
Okay, that's the list. So now there's a group out there. There's some speculation out there, if it's speculation or there's people talking. Let me just say that there's something called a new blood. So who are the new bloods to you? I can tell you a couple. I think Gonzaga would probably be a new blood. You'd probably say Virginia, maybe. No, not there. Not quite yet.
Maybe.
How is Indiana not a blue blood?
I think they should be.
Right.
I think they're a blue blood in the same way Nebraska football is.
Sauter Heyman text line, talk to me. 402-464-5685. Who would you consider to be a blue blood, and who would you consider to be a new blood? So is Houston a new blood?
Not yet.
Okay, so break it down.
Working their way there. Kelvin Sampson's a darn good coach. Houston has been, really good for a few years. They've been solid for a handful of years, and I know they had some historical success as well, but they had a big lull in the middle where you weren't thinking about Houston. And they also haven't had the sustained success of like a Villanova, who finally took a step back this year. But I would throw Nova in the new blood combo.
What about Baylor?
Baylor, no. They, again, have a chance to, but I need to see it for a decade, not just a few years.
Okay. UConn
is closer to a blue blood, given everything that UConn women are the blue blood.
Oh, for sure.
Of that sport. The men have an argument, but I think they're in that Indiana Syracuse tier of like tier 2 of blue blood.
Now, people would say that Michigan State's a blue blood.
Tier 2.
Yeah.
Yep. They're not a full blue blood. Not in that conversation for me.
Okay. Well, Sauter Heyman text line, talk to your boy. 402-464-5685. Who's a new blood and who's a blue blood? I'm interested to know how you view it and how you think. It's something that just kind of came to mind for me. I'm interested to know what you guys are talking about. Cliff Castorall Sr., how are you doing, man? Thank you for your service out there at Elgin Air Force Base in Florida. We appreciate you and the work that you continue to do and all the brothers that are alongside you. Yeah, that was just something I thought about, Austin, as I was looking into things. I'm just interested. I'm interested to look. I really want to probably take this evening and dig into the rest of the schedules and see if I can predict, how teams may fare based on the finishing of this schedule for the Big Ten.
For sure. So speaking of Big Ten, the text line asked, why is Michigan State not a blue blood? Michigan State doesn't feel like a blue blood. It just doesn't. You say Michigan State, I don't think, oh yeah, basketball powerhouse. They've been propped up as one. Tom Izzo has one national championship, 2, 3 Final Fours, which is good, but not what his reputation would suggest. I mean, he's lost in the first round almost as often as he's made it to the Final Four. I'm just not sold on Michigan State. I would rather see UCLA in the Champions Classic over Michigan State as that blue blood.
Okay. I mean, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Who in the Pac-12 outside of UCLA is a second tier?
Arizona has an argument for that. Arizona's close-ish.
Does Iowa State in the Big 12?
I'm
You know what I'm saying?
I
Give
get what
me
you're
your
saying, I'm
second
not
tiers in the big, in the different conferences. Give me your second tier. See, SEC obviously is Kentucky, but who's second tier in the SEC?
Florida.
Okay, you would say Florida.
I'd say Florida's in that conversation. Tennessee is working its way there under Rick Barnes. Auburn is working its way there.
Yeah, I don't
with
think
Bruce
I wouldn't
Pearl,
say Auburn yet.
but they're still below. LSU every so often springs up, but not consistently enough for me to want to put them there.
So
Arkansas, had those Nolan Richardson teams,
Okay.
but I'd say they're tier 2 at best.
ACC
or tier 2. Syracuse wants to consider itself a blue blood. Louisville wants to consider itself a blue blood. I don't think they are. Again, they're in the discussion, but they're tier 2 and a half.
NC State.
Redheaded stepchild of Tobacco Road. Redheaded stepchild of Tobacco Road. Nope. NC State. NC State wants to be. Wake Forest also no. Pitt, back in the Big East days, was tough. And if they've been able to sustain after Jamie Dixon, I could see an argument for them. But no, Pitt doesn't strike me as a blue blood.
Okay. On the Sutter Heyman text line, James. Yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I think Austin has definitely made that to be what he thinks it to be. Also, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, UCLA.
Yeah, and James, you're saying
in each of the conferences too. So that they each have kind of ran or dominated at some point. Alan Branting says Rock Chalk. Yes, they're definitely a blue blood, no question about it. Let's see. Oh, okay. He did. I think Sugar Shane, he answered that question about Syracuse. I think I would say Syracuse definitely is a tier 2. With Boeheim and his longevity, it kind of puts him in the thought of a possibility of being a blue blood. But I think that, has tapered off a little bit. So,
okay. So to Eric as well, before we get to the shootout, correct. My feeling is not a verified metric. I understand that. But part of being a blue blood is, do they feel like a historical power? When you say that name, do you associate them with basketball success, with history, with tradition? Because if there's any question if a school's a blue blood, that tells me they're not. If you have to question if they deserve inclusion, they're not inner circle.
Hey, you make your case. I fight. I'm your partner. I think that that is something to say about it, because what feeling do you get when you hear the name? I think that's a relative thing, and I think when you hear Kansas, you hear it, you know it. I think I kind of say with Michigan State, you're Syracuse. I do have those feelings about some of those programs, but they're not that ones where I say, oh yeah, no question.
You're right. The Michigan State one, let's go with that, because they're in the Champions Classic. That's, the big headline event to start every basketball season, essentially. And then I got to get back to James, because he's disrespecting. But with Michigan State, they win that national title with Magic, with Judd Heathcote.
I will say real quick before you say that, because I got to throw that out. I will say I get that feeling with Indiana.
Okay.
I will.
You grew up with them.
When I mean, when I hear Indiana, I get that. Yeah. the Bobby Knight and those runs, even though, not a whole bunch of championships came from it, but I get that feeling with that.
Absolutely. So with Michigan State, real quick, they win that national title. Then after Magic leaves, they miss the NCAA tournament for 5 straight years. Make it a couple, miss it a few. They make it, miss, make it a couple. They don't make it Tom Izzo's first 2 year, and then they've been a staple. They've only missed it in 2020 under Tom Izzo. So it's a good, solid program. I just don't think it's that elite. You have to talk about them, include them in every college basketball discussion type of program. So that's why I leave them off. And James, again, I know this is your opinion, and you're saying Duke is a more recent powerhouse, mid-'80s. Yeah, but that's still 40 years. That's still 40 years.
Yeah,
that's not one decade. That's not one run. That's 40 years of being in the national conference. No, they didn't create basketball, like Naismith in that crew at Kansas. No, they haven't been on the scene as long as, maybe Carolina or Kentucky with Rupp or UCLA with John Wooden. But you can't say Duke's a tier 2. They have 5 national championships since 1990.
Yeah, Krzyzewski. Yeah, that's blue blood, no question. What he's been able to do with that program is definitely blue blood to me.
Absolutely. Let's play the shootout. How does that sound?
Let's get it.
Let's get into the net rankings. Where are teams ranked? Who's the highest? Who's the lowest? Who has good wins? Who has bad losses? Your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Call now, 402-464-5685 to play the shootout with Strick next.
Max 10 for men. Bye-bye golfer lines and t-shirt 10s. Take it to the max at Max 10. Get a 30-day pass, just $25 with stand-ups and laydowns for men of stature. Be a Max 10 man. Get 30 days for just $25 now at all 4 Lincoln Max 10 locations.
What are you doing, Sip? I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives. So you're building what exactly? It's a motion-censored switchboard. Duh. Are you sure you know what you're doing? Of course. Ow! God! Ow! Seems like a job for a professional. Just one more wire. Yep, there you go, right there. Don't be like Sip. Call Joe at Ambition Electric for any of your electric needs at 402-217-3415.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstoRats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Meeting your goal of having a healthy diet has never been easier than with the Venue at Home Healthy Living subscription. Chef-inspired meals that are health-conscious and delivered right to your door every week. All you have to do is heat and eat. We offer delicious entrees, gluten-free pastas, fresh rice bowls, soups, salads, and more. Build your own package as a subscription to receive meals every week, designed to help you meet your dietary goals. Order your custom healthy meal package today at venueathome.net.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial or residential to agricultural storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-540-8966 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Vershawn Jackson for Brandt Excavating. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brandt is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brandt Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrandtExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brandt Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go big Brandt.
Chances are you've tried fruitcake before. Chances are it looked pretty weird. Lots of colors that don't really exist in nature. Chances are it tasted weird. Chances are you need to try fruitcake again. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. None of that stuff you didn't like, just real fruit, premium nuts, and the delicious flavor combination of brandy, bourbon, and rum to meld all that together. See for yourself. Grandma's Fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
The Ticket Water Cooler.
8 Big Ten running backs in their top 25 returning in 24/7 sports. You can certainly argue that Anthony Grant could be in there. Nobody would bat an eye.
That's just because the Iowa running back ended the season on a higher note. I don't care about the end of the season. Look at the entire season. Anthony Grant had a great season.
Good news for Nebraska is if Anthony Grant does fall off, A.J. Allen looks like he's going to be there. And then you have Ramir Johnson, who led the team in rushing 2 years ago. And
Gabe Urban, who was your starter 2 years ago.
So, I mean, they've got a great room.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC has great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
Getting experience to jumpstart a meaningful career can be difficult, and education can cost a fortune. Luckily, AmeriCorps can be the solution. With AmeriCorps, you'll earn a stipend and education award while helping people. Plus, you'll gain professional skills and make connections to help you build your career. If you're ready to start a career you can be proud of, visit serve.nebraska.gov/service to find a program for you. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game.
Call now if you think you know anything about the latest net rankings for men's college basketball. They are updated every day, so they are as recent as we can possibly get them. No need to double check the numbers on these. I just did that during happy hour. So that's as fresh as the numbers can possibly be. 402-464-5685. Starter Heyman, text line, Honda of Lincoln hotline. Call now for your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Strict today, we'll kind of switch gears a little bit to set the stage for next hour while we wait for a contestant for you to beat to get back on a winning track. Today's a Super Bowl parade for the Kansas City Chiefs taking place down there in Kansas City, Missouri. In Missouri, not in Kansas. That is where the parade is being held. And a common line that we've heard from Chiefs players is that nobody believed in them and that they said it was going to be a rebuilding year for the Chiefs. Number one, it's a little bit silly because you're the Chiefs.
That's fake news right there.
You have the best player in football. It's hard for nobody to believe in you. But I also don't think the Chiefs are entirely wrong by that same time, because it was, if not a full rebuilding year, it was a retooling year.
Yeah.
What does the offense look without Tyreek Hill? Can Mahomes and Kelsey still make it work? It's hard to have a tight end as your number one option. So as ridiculous as it sounds, to say the Chiefs were rebuilding and nobody believed in them, they have at least 10% of an accurate claim there, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, they have something that they can say for it, but I don't think, I think that's extra gas. That's just gassing. That's a way to gas yourself up, make you really feel super on top of the world because of the fact that you did something in your mind. And I attribute those things to when I hear Michael Jordan or Kobe or these guys create these little head games in their mind space to give them a little extra oomph in order to push forward or push through. That's the way I look at it.
Does that work for the majority of athletes? Does it only work for certain athletes to create those kind of boogeymen, those chips on your shoulder?
No, I think it can motivate anyone. I mean, I think it can motivate the young man or woman that makes the freshman team and gets cut. And you're looking at it from a standpoint of this is what the coach said about you. This is how they thought about you. It was something that I created in my own head. Like, for example, I'll give you a quick one. There's a guy named Eric Musselman. And I think Eric is still a coach.
He's the coach at Arkansas.
He's the coach at Arkansas. So Eric Musselman, my agent had called me to go down and play in like a IBL league, and it was in Florida. So they had teams in Tampa, West Palm Beach, different places like that. He was one of the coaches. And I went down, I worked out, I tried out, and he basically said, "You can't play." He basically told my agent, he can't play. He wouldn't be good for me here. Right. So okay, cool. I go to the NBA, I make the team, I get cut. I go down into the CBA. I'm at Oklahoma City first. I circle West Palm Beach because I'm like, when I see them, before we play them, I get traded. I look at the schedule. I'm not looking at the schedule caring about anybody else, but I know he's coaching at West Palm Beach. I circle that. I know that Mark Macon is their number one guy there, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Give me number 2 that night.
Yeah. I went in, and I tell you, I didn't even start, but I gave him 40.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
And when I tell you, I was talking every time I was like, yeah, you better find somebody that can get out here and guard me. Yeah. I was like, who's next? I mean, I'm talking to Musselman every time down when I'm giving him buckets. And I'm like, he ain't got nothing for me. You better get somebody that can play some offense. He ain't the one. When I'm shutting Macon down and all that. Oh, yeah. It was one of those things. So he ends up going to the NBA, Golden State. He ends up coaching there. And so whenever I would see him, because you go out early and shoot, I would walk by him like he wasn't even there. Because I'm just like, I was petty. I was petty wop, not Fetty Wap. I was petty wop.
And it worked.
And so it was that thing that kind of just motivated me. And he finally caught me in the back and he said, yeah, I need to tell you, Eric, I apologize.
Did you accept the apology?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. But that's the thing, that's the thing that everybody in some instance can find if you're looking for it, whether it be your actual coach at your high school, whether it be, another person on another team or something that somebody said in the paper about you. Yeah, there's a way that you can find it.
Well, no motivation needed for you today. We're going to go to break. Forfeit victory for Strick. Congratulations. You're back on the winning side. So as we take this break, caller number 3 to the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. Caller 3 wins the $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings today. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk some NFL. Officially, all 5 of the head coaching vacancies have been filled. Who won, who lost, who gets the highest grade, and what does the future hold for someone like Eric Bieniemy interviewing in Washington for the offensive coordinator job. We'll get to that and a lot more as we roll on with On the Block here in hour 2.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay Teal from Nebraska Golf Team. Imagine golfing the best courses in the world. St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Southern Hills, the best of the best. You can play those courses and more without ever leaving the city of Lincoln at Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle has the city's best golf simulators, 5 high-quality bays that track ball speed, launch angle, club speed, spin rate, and more to give you the most accurate gameplay. Check it out for yourself year-round. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Can you believe all the empty car lots in Lincoln? How can they survive? Well, they are surviving by charging way too much and making you believe there are no cars available. Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto. I'm here to tell you that they are full of bull stuffing. Come out to Price Right in Westo and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our Peace of Mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, pricerightauto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on Westo Street at Price Right Auto.
Husker Nation, Amy Williams and Nebraska women's basketball needs you February 18th at 1 p.m. as the Huskers take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. We need your help to sell out Pinnacle Bank Arena for the first time ever. For event and ticket information, visit huskers.com/tickets. Go Big Red.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial or residential to agricultural storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-540-8966 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Meeting your goal of having a healthy diet has never been easier than with the Venue at Home Healthy Living subscription. Chef-inspired meals that are health conscious and delivered right to your door every week. All you have to do is heat and eat. We offer delicious entrees, gluten-free pastas, fresh rice bowls, soups, salads, and more. Build your own package as a subscription to receive meals every week, designed to help you meet your dietary goals. Order your custom healthy meal package today at venueathome.net.
Captain Vershawn Jackson.
We're going to get a Mon Green set up in here.
You know, we go back 15, 20 years ago. Video games is a picture of a kid or adult sitting in the basement, you know, lights off by themselves, eating Doritos, drinking Coca-Cola and all out of shape. And it's different now.
Yeah, working out.
You know, and it's like, you got to work it out now. So I'm adding in practice sessions in the weight room. We're working out.
Get them, Mom.
You know, we're doing esports camp, just like training camp. We're doing 2 a day where we're on the Xboxes, we're on the PCs, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours at night.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for 3! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick. Hold up.
Welcome back to On the Block, E. Strick, with the man of the hour, the Tower of Power, Austin Orman, in the building today and every day, 2 to 4, right here on your station, 93.7 The Ticket, or on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. You can find us on all of those platforms, 2 to 4, and you can also go to theticketfm.com, to the app, subscribe, hit the like button, all of those, the thumbs up, all of those good things. We love you guys, and the Starter Heyman text line and the blockheads. We appreciate each of you as well. Now, second half of the show, I want to dig down into this because a lot of teams have been busy, Austin. A lot of teams have been on the hunt. A lot of teams have been waiting for the culmination of the 2022-23 NFL season. teams have been looking to upgrade their staffs because they didn't like the way that things were going. Draft is going to be coming soon, so they have to get things in place. So now, there were 5 coach openings that were still left over, and obviously you know why, because there was some probably on the Chiefs roster, on the Chiefs staff, as well as the staff of the Eagles that maybe somebody wanted to have a conversation with.
Mm-hmm.
They've been filled now. So being that they've been filled, how do you rank the hires? How do you feel that the team that's going to acquire this new head coach or whatnot feels about that hire?
I'll put them in tiers more than I will rank them 1 through 5. I think the team that did the worst was the Arizona Cardinals and getting Jonathan Gannon. He's the defensive coordinator for the Eagles last season. Did a good job. That was a good unit. I mean, you don't lead the NFL in sacks, get the 3rd most in history with a slouch of a defensive coordinator. So Jonathan Gannon, I'm sure, is good at what he does. But think about the Cardinals in that organization. Strick, who did they just commit money to?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah. Not to say a defensive-minded guy can't connect with him or a guy with a defensive background can't hire the right quarterback coach or coordinator. But to me, and to a lot of other people, one of the most important relationships in football is head coach quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
My thought for Arizona would have been hire someone to connect with Kyler Murray. He's going to be difficult to move. I'm sure someone, if he plays well and grows discontent or even more discontent than he is in Arizona, will pay for him. We've seen the teams are willing to pay for quarterbacks, to trade for them. Kyler Murray should bring back more than Russell Wilson did, even in a package. I mean, Russ's track record, clearly better. Kyler's younger. You can see the version of him getting better. If I'm Arizona, I'm going to commit this much money to a quarterback. I make sure I get someone that I know is going to connect with him, that I know can be good for Kyler Murray. Getting a guy without any head coaching experience and on the defensive side of the ball, that's a head scratcher to me. It really was.
Okay, I can see and understand that. I think I can actually, lock arms with you on that one, because you do. I mean, it even goes beyond just the relationship, but it goes also to the respectability, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's certain guys that if you don't have a strong presence, then you need another super alpha to be able to take over a room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that offensive side of the ball is going to need somebody that they're going to look up with respect. Like, for example, say what you will about it, I could see Eric Bieniemy or somebody like that, because you're going to look up and say, this man let me sit there and soak up everything. He's worked with the best of the best right now, and possibly in the top tier of quarterbacks all time in Patrick Mahomes. So you come in with instant credibility and respectability off top. That's and he's known to, get into Patrick. I mean, it's
doesn't let him coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a hidden secret that Bieniemy and them, they've had some beef, and rightfully so. But I get that. So I'm with you. Go ahead.
The other thing with Bieniemy, I think a knock that we've heard a lot is, well, he's not the play caller. So much of that is Andy Reid.
No.
Eric Bieniemy has called plays for the Chiefs before and is still is still involved in designing the plays, in scheming them and drawing them up. So even if he's not the one actually calling the plays, he's still very involved. So that's a bad excuse to me.
Yeah, and the one thing I could say I did appreciate, and this is why Andy Reid is who he is, and this is why he's had success. He's heard, the rumor mills and all of the conversations and talk, and he gave credit where credit was absolutely due, and that's to kind of also help Eric, because he's hearing those same. If we're hearing it, he's hearing it, right? And so there's conversation, there's talk about Eric Bieniemy possibly, I have thoughts on this, but I want to hear yours. That Eric Bieniemy, before we get into the other four, maybe looking at offensive coordinator in Washington.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. And what do you think that would make sense, or why or why not?
So on the one hand, it doesn't make sense because why would you leave Kansas City for a lateral move?
I don't need to discuss it because that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, why would you go to DC?
Would you rather work with Taylor Heineke and Sam Howell or Patrick Mahomes? Would you rather work with Ron Rivera or a new head coach, if they switch ownership, or would you rather work with Andy Reid? And maybe, I don't know what the odds would be, but there's a non-zero chance Eric Bieniemy would take over for Andy Reid when he retires. So I think you're set up for success in that way. On the flip side, the reason I think that Eric Bieniemy would consider going to Washington is to prove that he's not just a system guy, right? That he doesn't need Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to be successful, that he has learned, and it is his turn to be the guy pressing the buttons, not just one of the guys pressing the buttons. So I don't know what I would do if I was in his shoes. Probably stay in Kansas City, but it sure seems like he's motivated to take that next step in his career sooner than later. So if he wants to do that, it might be easier to spread his own wings and fly outside of the Kansas City bubble.
I got another thought on that. Because of the rumors and those conversations, you go and put yourself in a position to potentially be the next up. Right? Because, yeah, you don't know what's going to happen, but a lot of people are probably hearing things about you. Things have been said about you. Maybe some things outside of just what we know of Eric maybe has gotten out there into the voice genesis. And so you go and start a clean slate, let other people and other organizations see you, get to know you, find out more about you. And then when a decision comes to be made, you're right there on spot at a potential place where there might be some movement happening when you have a lot of new things starting to occur. So I can see it possibly happening from that standpoint. As to the why, otherwise, why would you leave? But I get it. You're kind of on point with that. Tell me about the other quarterbacks in your tiers.
So yeah, the two coaches in that middle tier, I would call this the fine. Okay, acceptable. I see what you were going for. Higher. Mike Holtz and also the Colts' old coach, Frank Reich, going to the Panthers. So with Carolina, Steve Wilkes did a good job. After they fire Matt Rule, they won some games under Steve Wilkes. And I totally understand the argument to move him up, but I don't think we should detract from Frank Reich. I don't think he was a bad hire. He's fine. He's been around the block. He's been an NFL head coach. He's worked with all sorts of different quarterbacks, drawn successful offenses out of most of them up until this year. The offense fell apart in Indianapolis. And one of the knocks on Frank Reich was he wasn't holding everyone to the same standard. He let the better players or the higher paid players off and didn't always hold everyone accountable. Maybe he can learn from that, or maybe that's what Carolina needs, is someone a little more easygoing, like Frank Reich tends to be. Steve Wilkes did an admirable job, but on its face, I don't think there's anything egregious about hiring Frank Reich. Doesn't move the needle a whole lot, but not a bad hire. And the Colts made who's the hot coordinator hire? Eric Bieniemy we just talked about, but the other guy on the other side of the Super Bowl was Shane Steichen, who has some ties to Indianapolis through Frank Reich. Norv Turner was his mentor when he was in San Diego at the time, Los Angeles now. So with the Colts picking 4th overall right now, likely going quarterback, Shane Steichen has proven he can work with multiple types of quarterbacks in, Justin Herbert, who's not the same guy as Jalen Hurts. Those are not the same football player, and both had really good seasons with Shane Steichen, helping press those buttons, helping coach. So I don't think either the Reich hire or the Steichen hire are, earth-shattering, huge, oh my gosh, they got the perfect guy for them hires. They're fine. They're normal NFL head coaching hires.
And what type of impact do you think, outside of the relationships and stuff with the quarterback, especially for a team that has some pieces that, could they, so you're saying they don't necessarily potentially move the needle to help them to make a leap, or are you just saying they could probably just be solid if they're able to build and kind of build it the way that they like it?
Yeah, they're fine. Frank Reich should make Carolina better than they were under Matt Rule, who we saw was not a fit for the NFL. Shane Steichen, I don't know if he'll be a better head coach than Frank Reich, but he's probably what this organization needs right now because the offense struggled. Go get an offensive guy that can work with a young quarterback and mentor him. So those guys should improve their franchises from where they were. But in terms of the, wow factor, the pizzazz, the fireworks, oh my gosh, I can't believe they got him. No, they're just kind of, okay, yeah, sure. Solid hire. See what you're going for. Pat on the back, buddy.
Okay. Who's next?
The upper tier, then the 2 hires go to Houston for DeMeco Ryans and to Denver with Sean Payton. Starting in Houston, they just drafted Derek Stingley. They haven't really ever been known for defense outside of when, Jay Foreman was down there. So I think DeMeco Ryans proved that he can run a unit, construct it all sorts of different ways and do something creative, which he's going to need to do in that division with Trevor Lawrence. Is the different, style in Jacksonville than what Tennessee's doing with Derrick Henry and maybe Ryan Tannehill than what it looks like Indianapolis is going to do with its quarterback. So I think DeMeco Ryans proved he can lead a unit. He has the ties to Houston because he played there. So I think he can, connect with people, maybe, provide a little spark, reignite some of that passion for Houston. And he got a longer term contract as well. So I hope he's given the opportunity to build things under his vision because he proved he can do it on one side of the ball. So if he can, transfer that over to a whole team, build that culture, home run hire, home run fit for Houston.
Gotcha.
And Denver got the big fish, right?
The one
they got it.
That if anybody probably was trying to right any ship, that would be one that you could go to because he knows how to handle it. Plus, he's handled great quarterbacks. Hopefully, because you've already spent the bag, so there's not much you can do with it at this point, but try to write it.
Nope, you spent the bag on Russ, spent it on Sean Payton. You traded the bag. You moved a lot of picks to get Russ. You moved a couple picks to go get Sean Payton. So if you're Denver, this better work. But Sean Payton, one of the best coaches of the era, maybe not of all time, but of his era, he's been darn good. Some of those Saints teams were really good. I know he only has, the one Super Bowl win, but we mentioned, the pass interference that didn't get called for them. They're close against Minnesota and they get walked off by Stephon Diggs. So those Saints teams were always in the conversation, always in the hunt. Sean Payton wasn't, married to this is exactly how we're going to do things. He was flexible. He was adaptable. And I think Denver has enough young pieces that Sean Payton can kind of reset the culture and just bring a little better on-field product. But again, he's been there, done that. Sean Payton, I think, one of the better hires.
Well, that's what's up. I'm interested to see not only with the coaches, but I'm interested to see still with some of these quarterback moves. That's something that has, my eyes out there. Do you think it possible that Aaron Rodgers ends up in the New York zone? What's your thoughts? What's your thought about the possibility of a move? Does it make sense for, does it make sense for the Jets to do it, or for even the Green Bay Packers to move on from Aaron and start afresh?
How close do you think the Jets are to playoff contention?
I think they're there. I think if they have a quarterback, their defense is good enough to have, and they're young. And so they've performed. They're young. They're only going to get better. So I can actually see that a leadership quality of, now people will come and say that Aaron Rodgers isn't a great leader. He's arrogant. He's selfish. He's this, right? But that man still knows how to win and he knows how to play the game. And if you give him some tools, he'll make the most and the best of it.
Does Aaron Rodgers so the Jets finished 7-10 last season, second best defense in the division, not in the conference, but in the division, 1 game back of the Patriots, 2 games back of the Dolphins. Does Aaron Rodgers take the Jets from 7 wins to 10 wins?
I think so.
7-12.
I don't think so.
So somewhere in that 10-11 range, that's a wild card team because Buffalo's not going anywhere.
No.
And then do you take your chances with Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs? And what does it take to get him? Because you mentioned that young core the Jets have. What's the price to get him? What's the price? That's
Good
really
point.
what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's a good point. What do the Saints need right now, Austin? Because
what do the Saints need?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the Saints, they had some promise. I mean, they went back and tried to give famous Jameis another look. He didn't pan out like I'm sure they had hoped had happened up in Seattle. Something like that. They would have hoped that situation could have been down there. But what is it that they need? What do you think they need in order to get back into contention?
Well, the thing is, they weren't that far from it. They finished 7-10, as do 2 other teams in their division, and the winner goes 8-9. So they're not that far off in their own division. The defense was still good, top 10 in points per game. Having a quarterback always goes a long way. You score fewer than 20 points per game, and it makes sense that they brought Derek Carr down to talk to.
Right,
he could help. It would be hard to downgrade from what the Saints were doing at quarterback last year. I'm not sold on Dennis Allen as head coach. I think he's pretty generic. I don't know what he does that's special for that. I don't know how he moves the needle for them. But Andy Dalton isn't enough. Jameis Winston has proven he's not that guy. Could be a good backup, in the right situation, but I don't think he's your guy. Alvin Kamara does play 15 out of a possible 17 games. You got to keep him healthy. But what else do you have around him?
Does the off-field things with Alvin Kamara hinder him potentially?
Don't think they help.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think the Saints are missing, I know they drafted Chris Olave. He ends up with 72 catches for 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns. Juwan Johnson at tight end had some moments. They need more weapons on offense because, yes, Alvin Kamara is a stud if he can, stay on the field. Chris Olave had that concussion that kept him out for a while. Looks like he's going to be a good player. But when I think Saints, I still think Drew Brees in that receiving core. More weapons.
Yeah. Last, before we take this quick break, can the Chargers break out?
Strick, I've waited 5 years for the Chargers to break out. They have so many pieces. You can name a lot of guys on offense. You can name a lot of guys on defense.
Yeah.
But there's some voodoo. There's some bad juju. There's something going on with the Chargers that the Chargers will just always charger. They will find a way to not break out, whether it's injuries, whether it's underperformance, or again, whether it's injuries, which has been the big bugaboo for that franchise. If they could keep all their pieces on the field at the same time for 17 games, I think they could be a legitimate player. But Keenan Allen misses time. Mike Williams misses time. Derwin James misses time. Bosa misses time. Justin Herbert probably should miss a game or two, but they throw him right back out there in a meaningless game. Austin Eckler's been pretty dependable. What do they have behind him? Offensive line misses games. If they can stay healthy, they should be an AFC player. But we say that every year. Yeah. The talent seems like it's there.
Well, that sums it up, man. You broke it down quite elegantly. I am great. I'm grateful for the win today. Let me just say that. Thank you to the Slaughter Heyman text line. All of you guys giving me love. I appreciate that. But we've got to take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about buy and sell. We'll see what kind of buy and selling is going on out there. And 93.7 The Ticket. We are on the block. We'll be right back.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of February. An early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. Let's put numbers together. Let's get a budget put together. And let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish, and don't sleep on their sides. Shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay Teal from Nebraska Golf Team. Imagine golfing the best courses in the world. St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Southern Hills, the best of the best. You can play those courses and more without ever leaving the city of Lincoln at Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle has the city's best golf simulators, 5 high bays that track ball speed, lawn jingle, club speed, spin rate, and more to give you the most accurate gameplay. Check it out for yourself year-round. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at electric.com.
Too many people believe that chronic pain, allergies, or illness are permanent and something you're stuck with. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness has been proving that narrative wrong for 29 years and changing lives for the better in the process. Their team is trained in the newest, most advanced pain-relieving techniques and ways to deal with toxins, allergies, pollution, and emotion that make you ill. Call today for a free consultation at 531-254-5695 or go to NovotnyNutritionandWellness.com. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness, located at 7th and Superior.
Can you believe all the empty car lots in Lincoln? How can they survive? Well, they are surviving by charging way too much and making you believe there are no cars available. Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto. I'm here to tell you that they are full of bull stuffing. Come out to Price Right in West O and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our Peace of Mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, priceauto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on West O Street at Price Right Auto.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air. When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that, options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial. Ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
43555. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back in the future.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Think you need a new furnace due to a cracked heat exchanger? Call Bryant for a free second opinion. Might save you thousands. No matter brand, Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. We do whatever it takes.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC fabrication and sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC has great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 51207-9329.
The Ticket Water Cooler.
8 Big Ten running backs in their top 25 returning in 24/7 sports. You can certainly argue that Anthony Grant could be in there. Nobody would bat an eye.
That's just because the Iowa running back ended the season on a higher note. I don't care about the end of the season. Look at the entire season. Anthony Grant had a great season.
The good news for Nebraska is if Anthony Grant does fall off, A.J. Allen looks like he's going to be there. And then you have Ramir Johnson, who led the team in rushing 2 years ago. And
Gabe Urban, who was your starter 2 years ago.
So, I mean, they've got a great room.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rolling right along here on the block. We got one segment left here before we welcome in the old school crew for a little bit of crossover action. We're bringing back buy sell, but a little bit different. It's not going to be NBA or NFL specific. It's going to be general. What's happening in sports this week? What can we answer from today, Wednesday, through before the show next Wednesday? That's kind of the scope, the purview. We'll break it down into different seasons. Maybe we go month by month. Maybe we go, sports season by sports season. Let us know what you think. But also, you get to play along because we will ask 3 questions each. And then make sure you're following Strick and I on Twitter. If you're watching the stream, you see our handles there at the bottom, at estrick20 and at Austin_Orman. I will tweet out the questions that we ask, and you on Twitter get to play along. We call that audience engagement.
Yes.
We're a fan.
We want to touch you and let you touch us, but also we competitors. We want to fight the good fight against you. We want to get in there and mix it up. So tap in.
And there will be stakes. There will be something on the line. We'll figure that out as we get into it. But Strick, lead us off. Your first buy or sell question of the week.
Buy and sell question of the week. Stricky. 1. Do the Huskers go 2-0, men's go 2-0 in their next 2 home games? Or actually, no, it's not 2. It's 1. They play Sunday. Do they win and beat Maryland at home on Sunday? Buy or sell?
Sure. I'm all in. Give me the buy. Maryland has been capital B, capital A, capital D bad away from home. They smacked the Huskers around a little bit in College Park. I think Nebraska returns the favor. That's a buy for me.
I would have to agree with the same, breakdown that you had too. Just Maryland does not do very well away from home. I think Nebraska's riding great confidence right now. As long as they don't come in and lay an egg, I'm going to buy that one.
All right. I'll stick in Big Ten basketball for my first question. We talked about the standings and the jumbled mess that's there. Purdue leads with 12 wins. Indiana and Northwestern both at 9. And then you have 7 teams at 8 wins in the conference. 16. I can't do math. 6 teams at 8 wins in the conference. So, Strick, buy or sell that at least 5 Big Ten men's basketball teams have at least 10 conference wins by the end of play next Tuesday.
How many?
5. You already have 1. So do 4 more teams reach 10 conference wins before we play again next week?
Not Maryland. Michigan State could get there. I buy.
You're buying?
I buy. I think Indiana's going to get there. I think Michigan State could get there in winning 2. And Northwestern's one off. And I'm going to go on a flyer and just say Northwestern's going to at least get 1 freaking game.
You need 1 more because you got to get to 5.
Oh, that you said Purdue. Oh,
yeah. You need 4 more after Purdue to get
negative.
To 5.
I
You're
sell.
selling then? You're selling?
Sell. No.
I was hoping I could trick you up. I was hoping I could get you to buy in, but I don't think so either.
I don't.
I think Indiana gets there.
I think Indiana gets there.
Northwestern should get there. And I bet we get 1 more.
I think
just
Michigan
hope it's not
State.
Maryland.
I don't think it's going to be Iowa, and I don't think it's going to be Maryland. Neither Illinois. I'm not rolling with Rutgers as bad as they are right now. It's hit or miss with Michigan right now as well. Yeah, I'm not rolling.
Okay.
Sell.
So 2 buys and 2 sells to start us off here. Question number 2 for you, Strick.
Number 2 for Stricky. Do the Lady Huskers hit 8,000 capacity against Iowa?
Ooh.
Buy or sell? In PBA, do they get it?
They better get it. It's a big one. You haven't beaten Caitlin Clark in her college career yet. Got to find a way to do that. Finding a way to beat Iowa, to me, would spark this team to the NCAA tournament. It's not crippling if they lose to Iowa, but if the fan base brings that energy, brings that intensity, that might just be the spark this team needs to finish strong. So I'm going to buy because I think they have to. I think this is going to be about as close as Nebraska women's basketball can get to replicating no-sit Sunday against Wisconsin. Not the exact same type of challenge, but you need that exact same type of energy and enthusiasm from start to finish. Not going to be easy against Iowa, but yes, absolutely. Fans, get out there, make sure you watch Nebraska.
The game's on
Iowa
Saturday.
So
the game's on Saturday at 1 p.m. I like the time. I'm going to go out on a limb and buy.
Oh, going out on a limb and buy.
I'm going to go out on a limb and buy. I'm only buying because of the time.
Okay.
I think the time is very good. It's a good time, just afternoon. It's a good time to maybe get your family out, go out and do something.
Not too early,
if you want to
not
get
too
up,
late.
not too early, not too late. You can still get up early, hit, maybe make some snow, because I think we got snow coming. Don't quote me on that. Bar sale, snow coming. No, I'm just
buy.
So yeah, I would say I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I like the timing of it. Now the only thing that would probably hinder it for me is probably weather.
Okay.
But I'm gonna buy.
Snow, stay away. Come again some other day.
Snow, stay away. Come again another day.
Hey.
That was 2. What's up?
Yep.
Talk to me.
We're going Husker baseball and softball for my last couple questions. We'll start with just the easy one, the win column. Buy or sell that Husker baseball and softball combined to win at least 3 games this weekend out of 9 opportunities.
Who do they play?
So I'm glad you asked. Husker baseball has 4 games on the road at San Diego.
Ooh.
So 4 games on the road in San Diego to start the season off. And on Happy Hour, Nick Sandert talked to Nate Rohr. Maybe the toughest tournament Nebraska will face this side of the NCAA tournament. They have number 5 Oklahoma State, number 2 UCLA, number 8 Virginia Tech, receiving votes Texas A&M, and number 4 Arkansas down in Clearwater, Florida. Do you see 3 wins out of 9 opportunities combined?
Buy. For that, are you saying combined?
Yep, combined.
For the men and the women?
Yep.
For sure. I'm buying. I'm all in for the Huskers. They're gonna go out there and change the whole look. I'm first of all, I'm betting on the women. I think the women, I think the women are gonna continue the run that they've had. And even if they didn't, I'm banking the men are gonna rebound. So one of the others is gonna cover me if they don't both do it collectively.
Sure.
I'm buying.
I'm gonna buy, but I'm also gonna call my shot. So for a bonus point here, I'm calling my shot. Softball beats Oklahoma State in a rematch from last year's regional.
Ooh.
Give me the revenge factor coming up big for
Okay.
Nebraska in game 1 down in Clearwater.
Ooh. Okay. I like the call. I'm not going to see the call and raise you.
Okay.
I'm just going to stay right there. I'm rolling.
Okay. Number 3?
That was, number 3. Let me see. For me, do the Husker women go 2-0 in their next 2 games? One against Minnesota tonight at 7, and come home and put the cherry on top against Iowa. Do they get the back-to-back?
They need the back-to-back. They have the potential for the back-to-back. It'd be awesome to see them double up. But until they beat Iowa, I can't predict.
I'm selling. I listen, I say the same thing. Until I see it, I need to see it. Listen, it's like they've been in games. They fought in with them, and then all of a sudden, Caitlin would do something, or the refs would do something. It just seems like somebody's doing something that's causing something like an L to happen for the Huskers. And until I see a change in that department, I ain't rolling.
It hurts to say.
It hurts to say.
It hurts.
It's unfortunate, but selling.
Okay.
I'll maybe try to be in the building though. I might try to be in the building that day.
If you're in the building, that pushes you closer to that 8,000 number. Bye.
I might win that one.
All I'm saying.
Yeah, listen, for real, man. You guys go out and support the ladies if you're around, because they're going to need it. It's going to be a tough one. If the weather permits, man, get out there. Have a good day, man. Have a drink. Can we have drinks in PBA now?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so, right?
Get
you a brew or something, man. Have something.
Or stop by the Haymarket and then pop into PBA.
Pop on in right across the street.
You've all pre-gamed before.
We've pre-gamed. I've had a good pre-game over there. I like the the sushi spot over there. Hiro. Is it Hero or Hiro?
Yes. I've always said Hero.
I've always said Hero too. Okay.
That's where we're going with.
But I've been over there and had some great sushi.
Mm.
And I'll pop into the game right after that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Final buy sell for me. Back to Husker baseball and softball. Another combo question. Buy or sell that Husker baseball and softball combined to hit at least 9 home runs this weekend.
And
that's
how many games?
1 a game. 9 games, 9 home runs.
Sal.
Oh, you're selling?
Sal, too early. Too early. Everybody's going to be contact hitting. I don't believe nobody's swinging for fences. I think the air is going to be dense, and I don't think the pitchers are going to be rusty. I think they're going to be paint corners.
You think?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think nobody's throwing super gas. I think people are probably going to be painting and changing and a lot of off speed. So unless you're in high form, I'm selling.
Strick, I don't want us to be the same on every question, but I think the sell is smart.
Why? Why? Why?
1 a game just seems high.
That's high.
Nebraska softball is going to be facing, again, 5 teams that could be in the top 25, 4 of them in the top 10. And I just don't know about baseball. We don't know what that lineup looks like. So,
and we don't know what they're pitching. And listen, I can tell you this though, Austin. Being out on that field, I'm hoping the pitching shows up because that kind of gets your juices flowing. When you're sitting out on that field and things ain't going well, it's a mental drain to kind of keep you engaged. Yeah, you stay engaged because it's the game, but you know what I'm saying? Like getting up, taking at bats, you kind of just, you get antsy, so you get up and you start chasing, because you've been out there on the defense, so you get up and you first pitch swinging sometimes and stuff like that, But when the flow's going, you can be patient and you can take your time, wait for your pitch and stuff like that. So I'm thinking it's still a little bit too early, and I'm not sure what our pitching is going to be able to do yet.
For sure. So stay tuned to Twitter at Austin_Orman at Estrick20. We'll get those questions out for you during the break here in just a minute. So vote on those. We'll tally your votes up as well. Twitter. Talk to me about Eric Strickland, the baseball player. I know Eric Strickland, the basketball player. I've heard some football stories. What was your game as a baseball player?
Good point. Yeah, the story behind it, brief, is I wasn't going to play. Dave Schillinglaw, he was my marketing teacher, my DECA teacher, and he knew I wasn't playing football, and he said, Strick, I think if you play baseball, you'll get drafted. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, trying to sell me on that one, and actually did. I ended up in high school with astigmatism. I had astigmatism in my eye. I didn't realize until I actually started playing for the Marlins that I couldn't see, but yet I hit 483.
Not bad for a guy with one eye.
Yeah, right. And so get down there, and what the type of player that I was, I had an above average arm, so I could play center or right. They mostly played me in right. Had some assists, so I threw some guys out, going from first to third type of things, and on some grounders. Then I was a line drive hitter.
Gap to gap
guy. So, when I hit it, it was sharp. And so a lot of doubles, triples. But when I hit a home run, it went out quick.
Oh, I'm sure.
It wasn't the bombs.
Laser show.
Yeah. It was out. It wasn't the bombs. And so that's kind of how I was as a baseball player. I could switch hit, but they didn't want me to because I wasn't getting enough time.
Oh.
So it takes a lot of time, a lot of reps to be able to switch hit, especially at that level. Because I would only go I would go in short season,
right?
And so I would miss full spring training and all that stuff. So that's why I didn't do switch. So they kept me on the left side, and stole some bases. I was one of those type of guys. I was a versatile, but I was 6'3", 200, 205. So I was strong, but yet I was a gap guy, not a bomb guy. I didn't hit those David Justice type, those Ken Griffey Jr. types.
Right.
Bombs. I didn't hit those.
Open stance, neutral stance.
Open stance.
Okay. Leg kick, toe tap.
Toe tap. Toe tap with a stride.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would, open, tap, stride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was my stunt.
Where was your nitro zone?
I could go opposite field too. Now I didn't. It wasn't a pull guy. It just wasn't straight pull. I did pull, but I wasn't straight pull. I could let the ball travel a little bit. I hated sliders, especially from the left side.
Yep.
Hated left-handed sliders.
Who had the toughest slider you saw?
There was a guy that he was throwing 96, 95, 97. I can't remember. But I think he played with Kansas City. Now, I did tell you I played with Johnny Damon.
Mm-hmm.
So Johnny Damon from the Royals was this guy. So I can't remember his name, but he didn't know where it was going yet. So that was a scary. He was tall, Randy Johnson type.
Okay.
Coming from the left side. Mm-hmm. Didn't know where he was going yet. Didn't know how to paint it. Just gas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a scary one. But the crazy thing about Johnny Damon was he could hit an infield grounder. And I mean, one that you didn't have to come up and track.
Just routine?
Just a routine, and you had to get off the ball. Like, you had to get it and go. You couldn't just get it and take your time. I'm talking about even at second base.
Woo.
He had that kind of speed. I was like, God dang. And he was a high chopper. He had like a chopping swing, so he hit bombs. From the left side too. So yeah, man, that was fun to get to play. I got a guy on my team was he actually won. He won the championship for the Marlins. His name was Edgar Renteria.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He hit the game winner up the middle. Mm-hmm. He was our shortstop at 16.
Wow.
Young fella. Spoke no English.
Hit the baseball though.
He can feel that thing. He can pick it. So yeah, he was our shortstop.
Who was the best player you either played with or against?
Well, definitely Johnny. With Edgar was still young, so he was still. There was a pitcher by the name of Vic Derensberg. He ended up playing in the league. Tony Saunders was one of our pitchers as well. If you remember Tony Saunders, listeners, Tony Saunders was with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays from the left side. Just the guy had a killer changeup with, not necessarily in 90, but his changeup was sick. He was on the mound and he threw his arm out and it was on TV. I don't know if you guys remember that. His name was Tony Saunders. He went to pitch and his shoulder literally threw out on TV. I said, oh, man. Great guy, though. I've kept in touch with him over the years. But Vic Derensberg was a guy. He was kind of a middle reliever, but he could start, but he didn't. He was a middle reliever type of guy. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
He
was my roommate, too.
Ooh, There you go. As we get into baseball season with pitchers and catchers officially reporting, I'm going to need some more Stricky baseball stories. So make sure you get those percolating because I'm going to be asking for them as we get into baseball season. But we got to wrap up on the block. We'll bring in the old school crew. At least DP's here. We'll see if Jay Foreman makes an appearance. We'll talk with the old school crew after this.
Husker Nation, Amy Williams and Nebraska women's basketball needs you February 18th at 1 p.m. as the Huskers take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. We need your help to sell out Pinnacle Bank Arena for the first time ever. For event and ticket information, visit huskers.com/tickets. Go Big Red.
Chances are you've tried fruitcake before. Chances are it looked pretty weird. Lots of colors that don't really exist in nature. Chances are it tasted weird. Chances are you need to try fruitcake again. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. None of that weird stuff you didn't like, just real fruit, premium nuts, and the delicious flavor combination of brandy, bourbon, and rum to meld all that together. See for yourself. Grandma's Fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial or residential to agricultural storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-540-8966 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com. A lot of businesses say that they're family focused. But when tough situations in life arise, the business feels anything but for your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, as they do with customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740. There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC fabrication and sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC has great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
Think you need a new furnace due to a cracked heat exchanger? Call Bryant for a free second opinion. Might save you thousands, no matter what brand. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. We do whatever it takes.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of February. Get an early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. Let's put numbers together. Let's get a budget put together. And let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us, get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 37 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour. Wednesday at 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
A winter storm warning will be in effect this afternoon through tomorrow morning. As snow is expected to move in late in the day, we could see accumulations overnight of 5 to 8 inches. Highs today will be around 30, but temperatures will be falling this afternoon. A low tonight expected of 14, a high tomorrow of around 27. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up on the block here, Austin Norman, Eric Strickland, joined in the building by Jay Foreman. Jay, welcome to the party.
What's up, man? Yay. Hey,
it's all good in the hood.
Trying to avoid this snow, Jay Money.
Hey, man, I don't think in Nebraska you can't. There's two things you can't avoid at this time of the year: wind, or three: cold weather, wind, and snow.
When you play golf, Jay? Are you okay with the wind? Do you know how you have knockdown shots or you hit towerings?
Hey, man, you know what's funny? I don't hit it high enough when it's nice out. And then I hit it too high when it's windy. I don't have anything in my arsenal, man. And whether the wind bothers me or not, it just depends on how bad I'm playing. So
I do have a little knockdown myself. I can shape a little bit, more on a fade than I
Yeah.
can on a draw. But yeah,
You can talk to a fade. They said you can't talk to a draw or hook.
Yeah,
Maybe
man.
they find out of bounds too quick, so it's all good.
Yeah. So listen, man, we've been talking a little bit about, some of the coaching hires. Obviously, the coaches were waiting to see what coaches were going to be available. The first one I want to talk about, though, is the conversations that Washington may be having with Eric Bieniemy. And I would love to get your thoughts as to why it would make sense to possibly move over and go down to Washington to be the OC, or is it a stupid move to even for us to be talking about because of the fact that Kansas City is?
Yeah, I look at it two ways. I think I'll say that Eric Bieniemy being in Kansas City with Andy Reid, to the stupid and small thinking in the person that wants to make an excuse not to hire Eric Bieniemy. That's their excuse, because then they say he's not calling plays. Everybody knows within the NFL circles, even the people that are denying Eric Bieniemy opportunities to become a head coach, that he's designing at this point in time in his career and Andy Reid's career, 60 to 75% of the offense is going through Eric Bieniemy. Now, Andy Reid is definitely heavily involved. Eric Bieniemy's at the head of the table now because of the success they had, but it seems like he will never get his full credit for it, and that's an easy excuse for him. And then for him, I think if there's ever going to be an opportunity to eventually become a head coach, he's going to have to go and then toe the hard road. Imagine this: Eric Bieniemy is going to have to go. He's going to have to go and toe the hard road and really show 3 or 4 times more that he's a great offensive mind and could be a head coach somewhere where they need, where it's going to be harder. They don't have Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think, until Eric Bieniemy, who was heavily involved in drafting Patrick Mahomes, this is what people understand.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Reid didn't win the Super Bowl. He got you to the Super Bowl, NFC Championship, both at the Eagles and the AFC Championship at the Chiefs.
Yeah, with Alex.
Yeah, but couldn't get over the hump
Right.
until he brought in Eric Bieniemy and let him get truly involved and opened his eyes to drafting Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows it. And so I think for him, to go to Washington, I don't think it'd be a stupid move. I think it would be something, if he really wants to be a head coach, I think it's something he has to do. It's unfortunate for him that everybody says the interview process and all. Look, man, I get it. The interview process for these jobs aren't really that strenuous. I mean, before people are getting on the plane, they know who. If you worried about an interview process, Jim Harbaugh would never interview for an NFL job. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's as quirky and has more baggage and stuff in his background and his background check than anybody else out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's factual,
Mm-hmm.
because the AD that hired him, or the assistant AD that hired him at Stanford and San Diego, is like a godfather to me. Is Darren Nelson, who used to play for the Vikings. So,
right. So
everybody knows, but everybody knows.
Yeah.
And so, they at this point in time, Eric Bieniemy's been coaching in the NFL. I don't know how long. Text line, I'd appreciate it if you tell me. So if you're trying to tell me that he's in Kansas City, a blue blood type of organization, and has some sort of background, he wouldn't be employed. That's number one. Number two, if I'm a head coach and you're Eric Strickland and you're a defensive coordinator, position, whatever you are, to go and you interview and say you don't get it, the head coach and the GM at your present employer always call and ask, okay, what did he miss? What could he have done better in the process? So Andy Reid's not going to hold that in his back pocket and tell him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So then you would know it.
Yeah.
It's just that they don't want to hire him. I'm sure it's probably based on how he looks in his presentation. Because he's a tough dude.
He's brazen too.
But he's confident in what he's doing. You're not going to push him over. So then that's also to it. He looks different. From his they haven't let go of his college days at Colorado. Little dude, little swole up dude. He was the first pocket Hercules, but he actually was Hercules.
Facts.
Throwing up the Q dogs and all that stuff. You holding that against him, and this man, he's almost 60 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
right?
he coached 5 years for the Vikings starting in 2006, 2 years at Colorado as the OC, and then he's been in KC since 2013.
Yeah,
it's great tenure. Let's go with a quick station identification. I got one thing I'm gonna throw back at Jay.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Jay, real talk right here. You and I boys.
All right, here we go.
How come Kellen Moore gets the look?
You know why?
And Bieniemy doesn't, right?
You want to know
talk
why?
to me.
You want to know why? I remember when
because Kellen Moore to me is not.
He's been detrimental to Dak Prescott's development, and he'll do the same thing out in San Diego. Straight up.
Okay,
that's honestly got true. Is Dak Prescott? Is he immune to criticism? No, but as Kellen Moore coached for the betterment of Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Pollard, and the Dallas Cowboys, no, he coached for a job. There's a difference. People don't understand. It's just like they talked about in the NBA. They were talking about the Houston Rockets, and I think it was Dallas lost to them. They was like, man, them dudes are out there just going out there running and gunning. They think they sweet. That gets you on the bench and 20 other teams. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Well, that's what he's doing it from a coaching standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why he's getting more looks and thought of as an offensive guru, one, because obviously he's white. I mean, let's be honest, he's white and he coached for the Cowboys. He's young, and he doesn't come off. And he just if you put his picture up and his is what they probably look at.
Okay,
and that's just the way. And you know what, Eric, as wrong as it is, these guys are billionaires, so they have the authority and right to hire whoever they want.
Facts, yeah.
But you can't then, if that's the case, you can't turn around and complain when you don't get the results. When there's somebody there that Eric Bieniemy's got a family and kids, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody deserves a second chance if there's something in there. And I find it, the NFL does extensive background checks on people. There's no way that he has it. Like they try to act like he's like Don King or something.
Yeah.
I mean, get this man a break, man. Stop making excuses for it. But you know what though? If I'm Eric Bieniemy, do you do it or do you kind of ride the success? Look, Andy Reid's not going to coach forever.
Yeah.
Them people within the Kansas City walls of that franchise know you better than anybody else.
Yeah.
I'd wonder if Andy Reid really wants to do him a solid and have a coaching and waiting. Not that you're going to force him out, but even if you put it out there, Eric Bieniemy's staying. Now I know there's been friction at times between him and Mahomes, but see, I think that's good though, because I think there was a point in time in Patrick Mahomes' career where Patrick Mahomes is where
he was Kyler Murray-ish. Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Right. He got too much too quick and he need humbled. And I remember where they got into it. I think they were playing San Diego and the offense was, not good. And he wanted to go for it before halftime. Bieniemy was like, hold on, player. I got this. We're gonna go in, make some adjustments. We're gonna win. This is bigger than this game.
I remember that.
Right.
I saw it.
So you need somebody like that. Everybody needs that.
Yeah.
Troy Aikman needed Norv Turner.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Tommy Frazier needed Turner Gill or Coach Osborne. You need those type of coaches.
Yeah.
And so I mean, would you want to go to Washington really when the ownership is changing? Would you want to do that?
Yeah. See, because you don't know, they don't know you. So that was the only thing that I would have, Jay, that I would have thought that you want clean slate. You wanted to go,
but you know what?
I'm with you, but that's the only thing that I could think of.
Andy Reid and say, "Hey, look, man, internally, hey, we got a good thing here. Let's run this bad boy all the way till we can. If it works out, it works out." Because other coaches that in there now, you got Nagy in there who might be wanting to be it. That might be.
Did Chiefs fans want that? That's disastrous in Chicago. That was bad.
But do Chiefs fans want it? But does he want it? But I think the combination they have, there's no point of Eric Bieniemy going anywhere right now. You're not getting a head coaching job. So stay where you're at. When you got the best quarterback in the league, you got one of the youngest rosters in the league, and you got 9 draft picks.
Solid GM.
So great GM, great city,
great organization.
Great organization.
Yeah.
And you got that dude. And then you got the dude number 2, and that's Travis Kelce. And and you got the great defensive coordinator that's going to kind of mesh up there.
I like it. I mean, I had to throw it out to you.
I mean, I could see him doing it.
Yeah.
But if you can't go to Baltimore anymore, I could see him doing it. I don't think it's a risk anyway. If I'm going to Washington, you're actually going to pay me. You're going to overpay me to come here. Now it's like I got to have my nose in the air because we know how stinky you guys are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, you'll be able to be the start off with Howell, which is a young quarterback. or if they get a young quarterback or get somebody through free agency, you're kind of being able to start over. I like that though.
Yeah.
But look, man. I mean, Leslie Frazier, defensive coordinator for Buffalo, he's been in the league like 34. I watched him for the Bears.
Yeah.
For the Bears, dude, and he's like 2 years for the Vikings head coach. I think they went to play. I mean, it's like it just baffles me how these guys, have one good year and then all of a sudden now he's a superstar.
Yeah.
He's 37 years old, man.
Yeah.
10 years younger than me.
Right. Well, that's good stuff, Jay. Old School will be joining us on the other side of this. We are on the block, 93.7 The Ticket. We will see you tomorrow, Thirsty Thursday. Peace.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get